guys, and welcome. This is alertwolf here, and what I am bringing to you is a quick review, and I'm going to call this uh, badass movie review. That's right, guys, and so I'm going to do a movie review on the movie on Badass. Now, if you haven't seen this film, I think it just went to Netflix. I don't think it was in the theaters, but I could be wrong. I just saw it today, like 5 minutes ago. So it's a little film. It stars Danny Trejo, uh, Ron Perlman, and Charles S. Dunn, which is fun. And basically, Danny plays a dude where he's this old. It's based on a YouTube video, but loosely based. And he plays this old Vietnam War vet dude, and he's on the bus one day, and they give you his whole backstory, and it's pretty sad. He grew up on a farm. He was the local football star. His team went undefeated. He had the love of his life, and then he decided to join the army just in time for the Vietnam War, and he thought he'd be there for a little while. And he ended up being there for 7 years, the last of which he was like tortured at a POW camp, and then they saved him and he got shot. But whatever. So it flashes forward, and then a little bit, the chick moved on and married and had children. She didn't wait for him, of course. Nobody would hire him because he's a Vietnam War vet, and with his injury to his leg or whatever, they didn't make him a cop, and so he ends up selling hot dogs on the street, and he figured something will come along, and it never does, and now he's an old man. So one day he's on the bus, and these two skinheads. This is just going to be my synopsis of it, and then I'll get into my review and my take of it. He's on the bus, and these two skinheads start messing with this black guy who's an old man. Because he's black, obviously. They're skinheads. And, asking him to give up his seat and whatnot. And then, to the point where the old man ends up slapping him, one of the dudes. And, it looks like it's about to turn physical. Then our boy gets up, badass, as it were. He gets up, he blocks the punch, and he's like, listen, man, if you want some seats just opened up in the back, just sit down there. And so he moves out of their way, and they were surprised, and he sits down, and then they're like, nah, man, fuck you. Who are you to tell us what to do? Well, whatever. So they pick a fight with him, and he's like, listen, I don't want any problems. I don't want to fight. He goes, well, too bad. And then he kicks their ass in like a few seconds. And while this is going on, one of the people on the bus was recording this on her cell phone, and so it became like a YouTube video. I think they called it YouView. Well, whatever, it doesn't matter. And so he became like a video star, and local hero, and his life changed. And so as the movie progresses, he's on morning talk shows with his mother. The police love him, and 3 months pass, and his mom dies and leaves him her house, and he moves in there with his best friend. Klondike is his name in the movie. I think, yeah, Klondike. And his character is, so he was the guy who saved him in Vietnam, and they've been, best friends ever since. And he's another badass old man. So, they're celebrating, I guess, the fact that they're all moving in, and Klondike decides to go for some cigarettes, even though they had cigarettes. He just didn't like the brand, so he went to go get some cigarettes, and he left him a flash drive before he left, and he told him to keep it safe. And you could guess what happens next. He gets the cigarettes. People track him down. It turns out they want the flash drive. There were two people from whatever the big gang is in that city, and they wanted the drive back, and so they pull a gun on him. He beats them both up, and just when he thought he had won and he knocked the gun away, I guess the movie was unclear. Either he somehow got the gun back or fell where the gun slid to, or he had another gun on him, well, whatever. Uh, and he shoots him, and he kills him. And then, so within like 2 days, he loses his mother and his best friend. And for a second there, you thought his dog was dead because they didn't know where his dog was, but not his dog was fine. So as things move on, uh, he figures the police will handle it. As I said, he was friends with some officers. But the police, so he's trying to let things go, and he had to go down to identify the body, and then he's on his way home from that, and he stops at the local liquor store or whatever, and he just wants to get a bottle, and he's a little broke. He's talking to the owner. The owner's explaining that he would spot him, but he's a little broke, and so what happens is that right as they're having this little discussion, if he could spot him like $2, three dudes jump in and try to rob the place, and then he beats their asses, and it's great. And he's become a cult hero. I didn't mention this, but he becomes a cult hero. He becomes they just call him Badass, and his real name in the movie is Frank, and so he's just known as Badass. To put like his face on shirts, so he beats these guys up. He gets the the guy gives him the bottle. He goes home. More people. One of his neighbors complains that, oh, my son was killed, or my brother was killed right near where your friend was killed. They're not going to solve it because they're corrupt or racist or whatever. There's no real reason to help us out. And so basically he sort of gets pushed to the path of vigilantism, which is great. And he just and he's this old man, and he has to ride the bus everywhere, and he tries to give the cops one more shot, and as he's walking away, he sees that they're not really going to do anything. I mean, he calls the cop a racist, and the cop's like, well, but I'm Indian, I'm not a racist. He's like, yeah, you are. And it's great. So once he figures out that the detectives, at least, aren't going to do anything to solve his friend's murder, he goes to the crime scene and starts to solve it himself. So he finds like the bullet casing. You could tell they haven't done anything. He finds the bullet casing. He found a chain that had a locket in it, and so he goes to the local pawn shop, and I guess the guy sells ammo there too. And he's like, this goes to a Beretta. This type of ammunition I don't have. I don't sell, and nobody in the area does. And he goes, oh, but the locket. And then when he looks inside, he recognizes the girl in him and actually tells him where to find this chick. And so, so he goes, he does what he does, and so now he's investigating the murder. And then in like 5 minutes, he already has a suspect. He knows where the suspect lives, but the person left, and then the middle part of the movie is him tracking this guy down. And then eventually he finds him, takes care of business. You find out Ron Perlman, who plays the mayor, is in on it with Charles Dutton, who works for him, and he's the head of the gang or the organized crime, in that area, and he works for the mayor, and they're working on something together or whatever it is, and he just works for the mayor, and so he wants this stopped because apparently what's on the flash drive is something the mayor doesn't want to get out, and he's running for re-election. So, it's Charles's job to get it back, and so this movie goes great, and it's basically a revenge movie at this point. But I'm not going to give away the whole movie. I don't want to ruin the ending for you, but you know how it is. He has a love interest. The neighbor the neighbor's family. The husband beats her, and then he likes the son. And I will say this: other than the main actors in this movie, and that includes the best friend who died in the beginning and the priest, I forget his name, that was there for maybe 2 scenes. Everybody else in this movie can't act for anything. It's probably like people's first roles. So there's a lot of not well acting in certain bit parts for like 2 lines, but you'll forgive it. And he does what he does, and he has a direct confrontation. I mean, this movie had a freaking high-speed chase with 2 buses. through a city. It was great. It was great. Um, so now I'll talk about what I like about the film. Uh, I mean, besides the awesome chase scene, which was great, it was just a lot of fun. You know, this guy really didn't use guns. He just walked up to you. He'd ask you a question politely. You know, this was his character. He was a nice guy. He just wanted to know some answers. And when people tried to fight him, he would just kick their ass. You know, and that was great. And the fact that he had to use a bus to get from where he was going, and because he was a quasi celebrity, people knew him and didn't stop him. Like like there was a scene where he's breaking in to someone's house because he's tracking down his suspect, and the neighbor had him dead to rights, and he had the light on him and a shotgun, and he's like, "Hey man, aren't you that badass guy?" "Yeah, yeah, I am." "Oh well, in that case, man, I'm a big fan." "Yeah, dude, you go right ahead." So he's trying to break in the window. He goes, "Hey, wait a minute, the back door's open." "Oh, thanks a lot." You know, or in the bus scene, he has to hijack a bus. Basically, he has to take a bus. They were by the depot, and he goes, "Hey, man, I need to take your bus. It's a matter of life and death." And the guy looks at him and he's like, "Oh, you're badass. Yeah, take the bus. Have fun with it. Enjoy." And he walks away. And it's that type of thing where there was a lot of campy humor mixed into this movie. And it wasn't over the top, so it didn't ruin the overall feel of the movie, which is because the premise itself borders on the ridiculous. This old man kicking everybody's ass. Because, he's a geriatric, he's an old dude, but he's still badass. Hence the name Badass. And so that's a lot, there was a lot of little campy humor throughout the whole thing. It was, that made it fun, and I found it didn't ruin it. It was a little corny at times. And the action and the fighting was awesome. When he finally got to some of the people he got, there was a little bit of gore in this movie too, and it surprised me. I'm not going to give it away where it is, but it happens, and I thought the gore was done well too. So, and it even had a little corny ending. But, I may strike that last part. But, I thought it was good. I would recommend it. Now, it is not the movie, you and your girl sit down and watch. This is the movie. This is on Netflix. You don't even have to rent it. You just look up Badass. It's one of the new features. I say watch it. It's more of a cult type of movie. It's a little movie, and it's a lot of fun. So, I would give this. This is like a rare gem. I'd probably give this like a 3 out of 5, or 4 out of 5 actually. It's like a 4 out of 5. And it's a lot of fun. And this was coming off a weekend where I saw Judge Dredd 3D or whatever, and that was a lot of fun too. And I think I'm going to do a movie review on that after this. So again, this is my Badass movie review, and this has been your boy Alert Wolf here, telling you if you click it if you like it, comment if you must, and subscribe, man. Why not? All right, I'm out.